First of all, success or failure? Trump says 10 out of 10.
Yeah, he does. He rates it clearly as a success. It's hard to get a handle on the degree of success or failure, actually, Mark, because in this 12-minute news conference, it was statements only. There were no questions. And, we are left with questions about why was there no mention of the word that goes to the very heart of the matter, ceasefire, not a single mention of it. Donald Trump speaks about obstacles. There's a few not significant, one perhaps most significant, he said. What is the most significant obstacle? If we knew what that was, we'd be able to take a judgment and measure the difficulty that faces him now in trying to sell what he's got to Ukraine and elsewhere. Something Putin said I thought was key in all of this, Mark. He referred once again to root causes. He said that if there was to be a lasting long-term settlement, then Russia's primary concerns needed to be addressed. Those root causes essentially extend to Russia's belief that Ukraine belongs to it, that it's its territory, specifically no membership of NATO, reducing the size of the military, specific territory in Ukraine that Putin says belongs to Moscow. And of course, trying selling that to Ukraine, that is simply not going to fly. So that's the roadblock at the end of the road.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to me, I don't know what you think, that sometimes it was almost as if this was Putin hosting this summit on American soil. You saw the photo call at the beginning, where normally Trump would be all over that answering questions and nothing. And then, of course, the press conference, where, again, just these statements and nothing from reporters, very un-Trump-like. I mean, the Russians seem to be calling the shots.
You would think so, yeah. Putin spoke first, and, to a degree, it felt like Russian territory, almost. I mean, I think the whole spectacle was actually remarkable. For an individual, Vladimir Putin, wanted by the ICC, indicted by them for war crimes, the abduction, as Ukraine would have it, of Ukrainian children, to be welcomed in something that akin to an unplugged state visit almost. You had the fly past, you had Putin in the back of the beast, the Cadillac One, Donald Trump's vehicle. That never happens. You never get Kim Jong-un had designs apparently on getting into that vehicle when he and Trump met, but Trump advisors said, no, that doesn't happen. And yet, there was Putin smiling from ear to ear. I do wonder, Mark, at that stage, when he got into that vehicle, he'd just been slightly monstered by the press, being asked very awkward questions about, will you stop killing civilians? What about the ceasefire? And it was at that stage that Trump almost whisked him away into the back of the vehicle. I'm speculating, but I wonder if that's because that was the nearest vehicle and Trump saw it as his responsibility to remove him from very pertinent probing questions. Yeah, interesting. And this talk of, well, from Trump certainly, of this meeting between Putin and Zelensky, because Trump said that this could happen. There could be a meeting with Trump as well, possibly European leaders. No word of it again afterwards, but suddenly, well, it could well happen. Yeah, I'd like to hear confirmation from Zelensky that that's going to happen, Mark. I mean, Donald Trump, throughout this process... Or from Putin, for that matter. Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah, because the two, I mean, to get them together, now that really would be a result, because that would reflect a degree of agreement on the part of Zelensky that, yeah, I can do business with this guy. We have yet to hear what he thinks of what's taken place here in Alaska. But yeah, I mean, Trump said this in an interview afterwards. We need to hear it from Zelensky if that indeed is going to happen. And as I say, it would be positive because that would indicate that Zelensky sees room for manoeuvre, room in negotiations that he can get something of what he wants. Because right now, given what we heard from Vladimir Putin yesterday, for me, I can't see how Donald Trump can sell that to Zelensky or indeed to Western allies who were looking for a ceasefire yesterday. They said, no ceasefire, fresh sanctions from us. I mean, that's, it's a difficult road ahead, if indeed there is a road ahead. Yeah. Just finally, you were on the base, all this going on, these extraordinary images. What was the kind of atmosphere? Give us a sense of what it was like to be on there. Remarkable in so many ways. I think the whole spectacle of it, Mark, what struck me was the theatre of it all, the way it was choreographed by Donald Trump. I mean, it was, and I look at these, the gaggle on board Air Force One. You see the documentary camera behind the president. Just from the way that today has played out, 3 separate interviews on board Air Force One, before and after, 2 separate gaggles at least on board Air Force One. The fly past, the red carpet, the beast, everything about it was a Donald Trump TV production from a man who, is king of showbiz. So that was the most striking thing for me, to construct this theatre of war around the man responsible for this bloody war, was remarkable for me. Jaw-dropping, I suspect, for people in Ukraine to see Vladimir Putin, the aggressor, feted to that extent.